Somebody's got to be able to.
Oh my goodness.
9 pounds.
She was like being
Yes.
That
Yeah.
baby's not to the doctor bag, didn't
Yeah, probably.
he? You hit me up, Becky.
That's right.
Oh, that's nothing. I
She'll
know
be,
nothing.
she'll be out.
11 pounds.
Good to see you,
My
man.
sister was 12.
Oh my goodness. I've
Poor
never
mom.
heard of babies that big.
Well, they told her. They said there's diabetes.
She didn't look that big.
Right.
And there was.
Baby.
They were right.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to call the December 4th, 2017 Crest Hill City Council meeting to order. If everyone would please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Ray Solomon.
Here.
Glenn Conklin.
Present?
Scott Dyke.
Here.
John Verche.
Here.
Barbara Scolaire.
Here.
Claudia Gazal.
Here.
Tina Oberlin.
Present.
Marco Coldi-Pietro.
Here.
Nate Albert. Here. Tom Inman.
Here.
Okay, you have before you the minutes of the November 20th, 2017 Crest Hill City Council meeting. Motion would be in order.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Alderwoman Scolaire, seconded by Alderwoman Gazal. Questions or comments in regards to the minutes? Roll call, please.
John Verche.
Yes.
Scott Dyke.
Yes.
Tina Oberlin.
Yes.
Marco Coldi-Pietro.
Yes.
Nate Albert.
Yes.
Tom Inman.
Abstain.
Claudia Gazal.
Yes.
Barbara Scolaire.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, before we begin, I certainly would like to extend our congratulations to our city administrator, Heather McGuire, and her husband, Jesse, for the birth of their son on November 30th. Both mother and baby are doing very well, and the father also are all doing well. So we welcome the new baby boy to the city of Crest Hill, and we wish Heather a speedy recovery, and we wish her back here as soon as possible to continue her duties. But in her absence, we have with us our city attorney, Mike Stiff, from the law firm of Spacia and Ayers. Mike, good evening. So we certainly wanted to introduce Mike to City Council this evening, and I would ask Mike if you have any report before City Council this evening.
Good evening, everybody. I have no report, but be happy to answer any questions. Chris Spage and I were here, I think, at one of the meetings where we were introduced, so I will be here for the 12/11 work session tonight, the other December meeting, the January 8th work session, and the January meeting in Heather's absence.
Very
And I
good.
look forward to being here.
And welcome to the city. You've been helping us for the last few months also, so any questions from City Council?
Just welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, with that, I would like to deviate from the agenda and go to the first agenda item, the under Public Works Department, the West Treatment Plant Facility Plan, which we did speak about at the work session last Monday evening on November 27th. So I will turn that over to Mark Seifert for opening comments in regards to the West Treatment Plant Facility Plan.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. As we mentioned last work session, before you is a facility plan to send down to the IEPA to start the ball rolling in conversations with them about potential construction at the West Plant. Once again, this is just to get the ball rolling. This is there is no commitment from the city to make any decisions on what type of plant, how many phases. This is just to get the ball rolling with conversations in them, as they are roughly about 6 months behind, or a 6-month lag to get back with responses on facility plans. Attached to the memo is an amended copy of Section 8, after Glenn had brought up some comments last work session. So with that, I ask for your approval to send this down to the IEPA to start the ball rolling on comments.
Mark, first of all, I do want to thank you for taking the time Saturday to go over all this with me, as I was not here at the work session. And I greatly appreciate that you gave of your time to explain your portion of all this to me. I had several questions which you were able to answer. there was a couple, one you sent me an email on, and the one thing I maybe forgot to ask or did ask and forgot what you said to me was, if we send this down, is there a fee we pay for this?
No, this is all part, yearly we pay the IEPA a fee
Okay.
for our NPDES permit. This falls under that category.
So if we were to have to update it, tweak it, change it, we're not gonna incur any additional fees for that?
Not from the IEPA, no.
Oh, well, who would we get any fees from?
Oh, that would just, no, it was no,
Oh,
nothing. right here.
okay.
Sorry.
Okay, that was one thing I wanted to know, because although I understand you want to get this down there just to get the ball rolling, there are financial things with this that I'm still not comfortable with, but I get this part. Thank you.
Can
Any,
you share your questions that you had with them?
Pardon me?
Can you share your questions that you had?
Well,
with
a
them?
lot of my questions had to do with, one of the things I wanted to know was, we were doing all the study on I&I, infiltration of the water, and we were told that was a big portion of our problem. And I wanted to know why we weren't doing more about that. Because I thought that we were going to utilize our powers as a city to get people to, you know, do the right thing with their sewers and their discharges, so that we're not treating water unnecessarily. Because if we're gonna say we need this much, it shouldn't be for all this rainwater and water going into the sewers. It should be going into storm sewers. So I think that part of the thing I have a problem with is, it seems like we did some things to address that and then we just stopped. And I know that wasn't Mark's doing, but I don't know why we weren't further having some sort of plan to make people get the stormwater out of the sewage storms and go into the type of sewers it should go into. Because I think that's a huge portion, and we don't really need to be treating rainwater. So I had a lot of questions about that. I had questions about, I did ask him about Stateville, and if we took Stateville out of the mix, because that is an unknown, we don't know, it could stay the same, it could die tomorrow, it could grow, it's one of those things we can't really predict. But if we were to take Stateville out of the mix, would the one plant suffice for the city as it stands now? Because I think that was an important question. He didn't believe it would, he thought we'd still need more. But I still think we need to do more about the I&I. Because I think we don't need to overbuild for down the road if we can get more of the stormwater out of our system. And I just had concerns that he can't answer about the finances, and, you know, unfortunately, I'll have to wait for another time for those, but he was very helpful, and I really appreciate that. I don't have all my questions.
No,
with me.
that's fine.
Sorry.
and I would say that we have been addressing the I&I over the last several years. We're also, next Monday night on the agenda is the manhole rehabilitation. So that's all part of I&I too, correct?
Correct.
So,
I was more concerned with the individual households and their stormwater and their discharges, and I know we have a 50-50 program in the city, but Mark said, you know, not that many people utilize it, but I guess just from where I look, if you have people that aren't doing the right thing and they're sending their water to be treated that doesn't need to be treated, then the rest of the city is picking up the tab for that, and we're overburdening our plants when we don't really need to do that. We should address that problem, and if people don't have their sewers hooked up correctly, then we need to get something in place to do that, or enforce that, or get a program in place to, that they have to do that, or maybe they have to pay a bigger fee if they don't do it until they comply. I don't know, but it just, that part of it doesn't really seem fair to me, that the people who are complying are gonna be paying to treat rainwater unnecessarily, and I just wanted more discussion on that.
and this will be a moving document, correct? I mean, this
Yeah,
is gonna be adaptable, this is
will be a
gonna be
living
amendable.
document, that when we get comments back from the IEPA, they'll be asking us questions, we'll be sending answers back down. It will be a document that, like I said, is living, and there will be changes made, because obviously, there's a lot of sets of eyes on it right now, but then down in Springfield, there's a whole different set of eyes on, from their point of view. So there will be concerns and questions that they will raise that we will address.
Yeah, and that's what's gonna take 6 to 9 months to get back from IEPA, correct?
Yes,
Are those
they-
questions.
They will take all the 6 months.
Okay, any other questions from city council, comments?
Well, I mean, since I wasn't here, unfortunately, I was very ill. I just wondered if there were any other issues that maybe were addressed in my absence. Did the treasurer's office have any comments?
I was going to go to him after I
Okay.
asked any more from the
Okay.
city council.
Well, you asked, I'm answering.
Anybody else from city council, any questions or comments in regards to the proposal? With that, I will ask our city treasurer. Glenn, do you have any comments you'd like to make?
I do, Mayor and Council. I understand that this is a living document, but that it's going downstate. It's nice to know that it's not going to cost us anything for the review. I guess the urgency is an issue, because I don't think it's been vetted financially, and I think I see some holes in the, in the plan itself. We've got, obviously an I&I problem. You're treating fully 1/3 more water than what you're generating. Is that accurate?
On a rainy day, are you talking about, or?
If you take your aggregate, 45% is I&I,
What was that number you said?
45%.
I don't believe 45%. I would have to kind of defer to Mike, Mike is here. I thought we were closer to 38 to 39, but.
Let's
but-
call it 38 for sake of argument.
And then I know, I have been doing some research in surrounding towns, and there are some towns who are up as close to 60% clean water. So we are on the national average is roughly around 45 to 50. So we are a little bit below the national average that comes from AWWA.
Okay, but one would assume that if 1/3 of the water, which is that number, if you're talking about 38, it's over 1/3 of the number. So your capacity estimate is based on the I&I. That's part of your equation
Right.
on how much plant you need to build in terms of capacity. Capacity costs dollars. So does mitigation, obviously, but I don't know, those don't seem to be weighed in there. You treated a little bit over 1.25 billion gallons last year. So that's a lot of gallons that you're treating that are rainwater. You pumped about 60% of that total. So you've got a big number there. So there's a problem in the, not having the, the mitigation there. I think you ought to take a look at some numbers, in terms of capacity. The other thing, in the capacity equation was the, two things. One is that you have 24 meters that control 40% of your income. That's your cash register. And I don't know of those 24 users, how accurate we know of their metering. Because I know that if these meters fail, they fail to the lower end.
Over all of our meters, those 24 meters are mostly 2-inch and above. And over the past 3 years, we have had a third-party company come in and test those meters. And the national, or the AWA standard is between 98 and 103% is within passing range. And all of those 24, all of our larger meters have passed. The ones that did fail were replaced right away. We did
Okay,
have
so we
two.
know
We
we're-
did have two that failed that were replaced right away. One was in the trailer park at Stateville, right on Caton Farm Road there, and the other one I am blanking on, but it was like 2 years ago we did replace it. So
Okay.
I could get you that information later.
That's great. Now, there's also, you bill 565 and you pump 764. So you got a 35% loss somewhere in between what you pump and what you bill. So I
Right.
guess that's a concern. That's either, would I be correct in assuming that's either a leak between the pumping station and the meter, or is it a bad meter read?
It's a combination of several things, Glenn. You also have to take in account firefighting, hydrant flushing, unknown leaks in the system, water main breaks, service leaks. All that contributes to unregistered water.
We've been.
And that
we've-
can that be,
I
can
think
that
in
be
the past
200 million gallons a
I
year?
think we've estimated about 18% annually since 2014.
There is a spreadsheet that is used from the AWWA that takes into those things that Tony, the national averages for water main breaks, the national averages for firefighting, the national averages for all these things. And so our actual water loss due to metering is about 18%.
Okay, when you talk about that, so you're saying that you believe that your meters are to be accurate despite the fact that you've got some 30 and 40-year-old meters on the 5,000 homes?
Well, we're in the process of changing those out. You know, we had just started this, I believe, started partially last year as a pilot program, and we continued it this year, starting in January. We've hired a company to come out and help us do that. So they're going door to door, getting residents to sign up and schedule appointments so that we can change all the residential meters out. We started with the 5/8 3/4 residential meters. We moved over to the 1-inch meters, 1.5-inch meters. Now we're targeting some of the bigger meters as well.
Okay, so I think we gave $190,000 to that process,
Yes.
and that was to address how many meters this current year?
I think that was, I want to say it was, I'd have to go back, Glenn, and take a look at that number. I don't know.
Three something, I think, I don't know the
It was
number.
like 290 or something like that.
Okay, so we say 300, and you got 5,100 residential meters, a little bit more than that. That's gonna take you how many years to get through at that pace? You know, almost 20, and I think that outlives the units in them that read it. So I mean, I'd suggest that if we're gonna have accurate meters, we need to have that as part of the maintenance, that amount of money to rotate those out.
I agree.
10 to 15
As a matter of
years.
fact, I'm meeting with the meter company tomorrow, and we're gonna sit down and talk about how we can expedite the scheduling of some of these meter changeouts. And, you know, we've sent out duplicate letters to addresses that are known meters that are either not giving us automatic reads, or we know that they're 20 years or older. One of the issues here is that we're not getting appointments from these individuals to have permission to enter private property to change the meters out. So now we have to come up with different strategies as to how can we, you know, mandate that we get into that and schedule an appointment for them.
Yes, because I mean, this is an enterprise fund, so if you've got 10 items going through the scanner, it's picking up
I
8,
agree.
and that's where you're at now.
Yep.
You know, you're leaving some money on the table on your, you know, on your top
That's
line.
like you said, that's our cash register for the city. We need to make sure that those meters are accurately reading every drop of water that comes out of every spigot of, in the household.
Great, I'm glad to know that you're on top of it and that you guys are allocating the resources to address that. Stateville was one that, I think in the Strand report showed, I think in the projections, like a 4,138 for a capacity. That's an inaccurate number. Stateville's considerably lower than that as far as like what they're showing for a number. And I guess the other thing is, you know, what are you figuring they're in there for today? Yeah, I think you guys estimated 3,600.
Yeah, we had a.
Mike, to the podium, please. Mike from Strand.
The latest number that we had off of Stateville's website, as I can remember, was from mid-2015, so it was a estimate, is what we had for the current population of Stateville. And then the projection was out from what we had found in our research to be full capacity of Stateville as it stands right now.
Okay, in your report, you're showing 4,134.
Ultimate build-out or currently?
That's what you're showing as the ultimate build-out.
Okay.
You showed that there was an anomaly back in 2005 when it had decreased. But Stateville currently has an operational capacity of 3,759. And I think you were showing there somewhere in the high threes, like 3,800 residents there. As of April of this year, you have 2,550, so you're trending down. That wasn't an anomaly. You're sliding on your Stateville population.
Glenn, if I may, I spoke to the chief engineer today. Over the last 5 months, they've been averaging 3,850 residents since April. So that April number is old. The chief engineer did give me their 5-month average of 3,850.
When did you speak with them?
Today.
Okay. What is your Stateville billing at currently?
Our state monthly, or
Let's go 16 to 17.
if I may pull it up real quick. Stateville billing, we billed in 2016, 188,292,000 gallons, which was up 6% from 2015, which was 175,820,000. 2015 was down from 2014, 9%, which was 194
You're down
million.
20% year to year.
We had a 6% increase from 2016 from 2015.
We had a 20% decrease in the 11 months of 2017 and the 11 months of 2016.
I'm just showing what I have for billing, of how many gallons we're billing. We billed, in 2016 calendar year was 188,292,000. The year before was 175,820,000.
Okay, so what are you showing for this year?
Through 11 months, we're at 100.
Through 11 months
Through 11 months, we're at 140 million.
versus the 11 months of last year. I mean, I have.
I don't have the 11th month, I have the full year of last year.
Correct. 2017, 11 months, 150 million, and 188.6 in 2016. So you do have a
180, where was?
188,610
In 11 months of 2016?
no, that's 12 months.
12 months? Okay, I don't have 188,292, but,
Okay.
so we're still the same
But I mean,
ballpark.
you are showing a decrease there and you're showing an increase. So I mean, I guess that's a problem if you're building 6% over.
We are showing a decrease in residential water meters this year too. So that could have something to do with having the wet spring that we had. Stateville does not turn on their outdoor showers, I know, when it's raining. They do have outdoor showers there.
Oh, I didn't know that.
It's a pipe with holes drilled in it, but that is there and it just runs onto the ground. So due to the wet, I'm showing for our Stateville, we went up 9%, down 6%, or sorry, down 9%, up 6% over the last 3 years, and now we're gonna be having another down year. So it has gone up and down over the last 4 years.
Correct, but I make note that your capacity, according to their website, has decreased. And as of, I believe it was April.
Yeah,
they're
I
showing
saw I was on
2,550.
the DOC website today with the April numbers of 2,500, and
That's a little scary to lose 6% of the revenue, and we're kind of banking on that ramping up, so, when you figure your capacity. And just one other thing of note is that, I know INI is a concern, and as it sounds like you're gonna address that, but, I know the IEPA, they have certain things that they get concerned about. And we pump, whatever it is, 275 gallons per capita per day capacity, 275 gallons per capita per day is considered excessive on your INI for your rainy days, wet days.
is that what you're saying, that's what we have?
The IEPA
Oh, that's your IPA, okay. I
has
didn't know if
that, and
that's what you were
that's in Strand's report.
Right.
Right now, you guys are at 368, so you're exceeding what they consider excessive by 35%. So I mean, obviously INI is part of your system, and that's what, everything that you're building is based on what's going in. So you've got an INI problem where you've got stuff coming in that shouldn't, and you've got some issues with the not billing what's put out. So, and I know when you put out, I know that we have things that, we're not treating. That is, when someone waters their lawn, when we have some of our larger users, our water goes out in their product, whether it be a bakery, rich products. So I mean, we're treating a lot more than we're putting out, but we're sending out of town a lot of our water and products too. So I guess my suggestion is, if you choose to go through, I hope it's very alterable in terms of its capacity. And then there's also the problem of being able to afford it. If we have INI issues to deal with, the metering issues, that's gonna turn that $36 million into a whole lot bigger number to be able to address those, so.
I think, Glenn, those are great points, and obviously, those are things that we've discussed internally at some extent, continue to discuss those. As I said, we've already scheduled some INI programs with manhole rehabs, which we'll discuss at the next work session. And again, we know of those. Unfortunately, every city has I&I. It's one of those things that seems to inevitably always be there. You know, we're doing our best to try to tackle the high known sources of I&I. And right now, it seems to, our target's gonna be the manholes that are unstructurally sound right now, that are cracked and deteriorated. We need to seal those up to keep that large volume of I&I water infiltrating into our sanitary system. And going back to the meter thing again, we know that's our cash register for the city, and that's a high priority as well. We just need to sit down, come up with a game plan, revisit that game plan and see how we can get these individuals to make appointments so that we can get in there and get these meters changed out so we can move on with this program and get it expedited a lot quicker.
What do you do with the, do you have an estimate on how many illegal hookups you have?
In
They
terms
did
of
a
water,
small-
water,
they did-
wastewater.
In terms of like the sump pumps and, you know, where they're connected, they're basically either sump pumping it or they're.
Downspouts.
Yeah, where you're treating rainwater.
You know, just from, you know, from experience in the field, most of it's gonna be in service laterals, downspouts, such as that, but it's mostly service laterals.
Could you, I'm not familiar.
It's the service lateral is the sanitary line that ties into the main sanitary from each individual residential home. That's a service line, it's called service lateral. And what happens is, back in the day, a lot of people used to tie in their sump pumps to that lateral or.
To the sanitary, right?
And to the sanitary,
Okay.
and also their downspouts. So those would, they're considered as illegal connections. I know that years back, they did a comprehensive smoke testing of the sanitary system. Some of these were identified in the city. Some of them that were in the public right-of-way were corrected. A lot of those, unfortunately, are private property. The way our ordinance reads, we cannot enter private properties. All we can do is suggest to the residents that they correct that at the earliest convenience as possible to make that disconnection from the sanitary line.
So I know when my folks' house was built on Root Street, it was deliberately, I mean, I think it was built with that. Bud, you live down the road, so that was built. And I know he had a disconnect and, you know, one of the things is, again, you're paying for disposal of rainwater from somebody that's got an illegal hookup. Because your only chance at the cash register, you only bill, with the exception of state bill, you only bill for water consumption.
Correct.
And you don't meter sewer. Is it something that council may consider, because you're treating 1/3 more water than you're sending out? To consider that you surcharge known offenders, or at least do something to make a disconnect, because you're buying, you know, 1/3 more plant than what you need if you didn't have those.
I know
Those
some
illegal
cities do have a surcharge on their water billing to customers. Again, that's something that I guess the council would have to consider and take a look at. I mean, there's other ways to get that, those residents that are illegally connected to pay their fair due on that. Unfortunately, a lot of these are in older areas of most municipalities. When, you know, these subdivisions or neighborhoods were built, it wasn't that populated, so you weren't overtaxing the sanitary system, or you weren't overtaxing the treatment plants. You know, they were able to handle that. But now, since the population boom, you know, it's made a big difference. And there's a lot of, you know, we're not the only municipality that has illegal connections. There's a lot of municipalities that have illegal connections that they're fighting the same battle.
And I think the flip side also, Glenn, is when you do disconnect a sump pump or a roof tile, if that area does not have storm sewers, now you have to install storm sewers, and that's you know, we have to get easements to put these storm sewers in. That's the other capital investment. There are parts of the east side of town, there are parts of Ward 2 and Ward 3 that don't have storm sewers. They don't have detention ponds, they don't have retention ponds. So to disconnect these sump pumps and downspouts, you could potentially cause a flooding issue in these areas that don't have the proper storm drainage.
$700,000 of your annual expense is towards treating water that you don't need to treat. So I mean, that's a whole lot of money on an annual basis for 20 years to allow that to continue, not have any sort of offsetting income on them. That's all I got.
Okay. Any other questions from city council? Well, let me make a couple comments here. First of all, let me say that thanks for all the time that's been invested with this. And I know city staff, I know Heather, Mark, Tony, I know that Mike and Chris and Dominic from Strand, I know you guys have been meeting for probably over the last year, trying to decide, give us the options that we had before us last Monday night. In all fairness, you know, I want to say thank you to everybody that put time into this project. It's an awesome task, but I will say that that West Treatment Plant was built in 1968 and was last upgraded in 1994. So, you know, it's old, it served us well, but if we want to grow as a city, if we want to bring in new development into this city, we better be able to treat the sewage, and we better be able to supply water to the new growth and development in this city. So what I'm looking at here is that this plan that is before us, there's no commitment on the city's part that we're going to proceed with this, but it's going to give us the opportunity to present this to the EPA for their review and for us to respond to their questions and concerns that they may have. We are under no financial obligation here. So again, I think this is just to keep us in good graces and to start the consideration of making some sort of improvements to the West Treatment Plant. So with that, I would think that this is the right thing for the city to do at this time, and I would ask for a motion from City Council for the approval of the West Treatment Plant Facility Plan.
So moved.
I'll second it.
We have a motion by Alderwoman Gazal, seconded by Alderman Verche. Questions or comments in regards to the motion? Roll call, please.
Nate Albert,
Yes.
Marco Cole DePietro,
Yes.
Scott Dyke,
Yes.
Barbara Scoler,
Yes.
Tina Oberlin,
Yes.
Tom Inman,
Yes.
Claudia Gazal,
Yes.
and John Verche.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, thank you, Mike. Mark, thank you. Tony, thank you. Council, Glenn, thank you for your comments. With that, I would like to go back to our Assistant City Administrator, Megan Falera, for her report. And at this point in time, now that we have agreed for the treatment plant facility plan, we certainly are going to have to take under consideration for the financing of that plant if we proceed to go further. And with that, I would like to talk about the agreements with the PMA that we have before us and that we've talked about at the work session on last Monday night. So Megan, good evening.
Thank you. Mayor and council, before you this evening are two agreements that we discussed last week from PMA. The first is an agreement for TIF financing, and the second is for the West Treatment Plant financing. We do not have any representatives from PMA with us this evening. I will certainly do my best to answer any questions that I can for you. So with that, I'd like to ask for your approval.
Okay, so the first one is for the PMA agreement for TIF financing. Motion would be in order.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Alderman Colo DiPietro, seconded by Alderwoman Scler. Questions or comments in regards to the motion for the PMA agreement for TIF financing that we discussed last Monday night? Roll call, please.
John Verche,
Yes.
Scott Dyke,
Yes.
Claudia Gazal,
Yes.
Tina Oberlin,
Abstain.
Nate Albert,
Abstain.
Tom Inman,
Abstain. What do you do?
Marco Colo DiPietro,
Yes.
and Barbara Scoler.
Yes.
Motion's going to carry. 2, 3, 4, correct? Yes.
Okay?
Okay,
Next,
and
Megan?
Sure, and our second agreement is for the financing for the West Treatment Plant.
Okay, and that would piggyback for the West Treatment Plant and for other public improvements for the city, for PMA to give us a financing plan.
And as a reminder, this is just an opportunity to engage PMA to provide financial analysis for this plan that we will be submitting to the EPA or any variation of that plan, as well as the other capital projects that we are looking forward with the city right now.
Motion would be in order?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Alderwoman Gazal, seconded by Alderman Dyke. Questions or comments to the motion? Roll call, please.
Tom Inman.
Yes.
Nate Albert.
Abstain.
Marco Cole DePietro.
Yes.
Tina Oberlin.
Abstain.
Barbara Scoler.
Yes.
John Verche.
Yes.
Scott Dyke.
Yes.
Claudia Gazal.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Just one final comment from me in regards to PMA. They were the same ones that provided financing options for us with the Build America bonds when we upgraded the East Treatment Plant in 2010. And everything has been working even better than they had brought before us for that plant. So again, we will take everything under consideration, make the right financial decisions for this city when it's brought before us for discussion at a future work session. Anything else, Megan, under your report?
No, Mayor, thank you.
Any questions of the Assistant City Administrator? Thanks, Megan. We'll go back to Public Works now. For the other agenda item, our Director of Public Works, Tony Terez.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. As discussed at the November 27th work session, this is for the Well 10 work, and this is to approve Strand to initiate this agreement so we can go ahead and get started on the repairs that are needed for that well site.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Alderwoman Gazal, seconded by Alderman Albert for the Well 10 construction agreement. Questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Tom Inman.
Yes.
Marco Cole DePietro.
Yes.
Scott Dyke.
Yes.
John Verche.
Yes.
Barbara Scoler.
Yes.
Tina Oberlin.
Abstain.
Nate Albert.
Yes.
And Claudia Gazal.
Yes.
Motion carries.
That's all I have for this evening, Mayor. If anyone has any questions, I'd be glad to answer them at this time.
Questions of Public Works?
Yeah, Tony,
Yes, sir.
did you ever check those bolts on those light poles on Oakland Avenue?
Bolts of the light.
Yeah, the whole, those light poles we have on Oakland Avenue, those aluminum pipes? I asked you about 6, 8 months ago to see if they're tight. We used to tighten those things every year, and they got loose every year. I don't think they've been tightened for 10 years now.
The lamps themselves or the pole
The
themselves?
pole where it hooks to the base.
Okay.
The 4 bolts that hold it to the base. They were checked every year.
And you said you haven't checked in 10 years?
Yeah, I don't think they have been, maybe longer.
Any other questions?
And
Do you have an
we're not
exact
gonna
lo-
get.
Do you have an exact location? Do you have?
Yeah, every one on Oakland Avenue, from
Okay.
Cape Farm Road to Elsie. All those steel aluminum lamps.
Anything else?
We're not gonna get the old dried up thistles cut down again this year, are we? On Oakland
No,
Avenue?
not this year.
Why don't you think about looking into something about this grass they got? It only grows about 12, 15 feet high. It's like burgundy colored, and they put it in there, and nothing grows in it. It just kills everything, and it has no light. It can't get nothing to grow in it.
We have some trial grasses like that we put over at the Elrose plant at on the north side. We're gonna see how it comes up this spring. And we're also looking at some wildflower seedlings for that area as well.
See, when that road was put in, the engineer wanted to put that grass in, but the state wouldn't pay that money, so that's the reason that grass didn't get in. I spoke with the fellow afterwards and said, it grows good. Very seldom you ever see something else come out that isn't green, that burgundy colored grass. It's so tight, that nothing can grow, can't get light in
Yeah.
it, there's anything to
I
grow
know a
in it.
lot of golf courses use that as part of their rough.
No maintenance at all.
That's correct.
And the drought doesn't hurt it either.
Yep.
Maybe we should look into that, see what, get that on both sides of that street.
We're hoping to do something that in the early spring, overseeding that area. We'll mow it down as close as we can to the ground, try to scratch that ground as best we can on that slope, and throw a different variety of seeds in there, see what takes.
Yeah, but this might be the best deal is grass. I can't remember the name of it, though.
I
I
think they
think
just
you need
call
to
it turf
spend,
grass.
you need to spend a day with Alderman Verche.
I'll be more than happy to.
Any other questions?
I'll buy the coffee.
Tony, the improvements at Gaylord and Division, they seem to be moving along real nicely. Does it look like the lights will be turned on before the end of the year, or is that something that can be
We're
spring?
hoping to. I have a meeting tomorrow with the engineer, and those are some of the things that we're going to discuss.
Okay.
They had some striping issues also that we're trying to correct.
Okay. And I did notice, and it was Sunday, not today, but coming southbound on Gaylord, it has there's an arrow that says you can only turn right on one of the lampposts. That needs to come down based on how it's striped now,
Okay.
because the people were moving over to the left, but then you got to get back to the right anyway, so if it's
Southbound
still
Gaylord, you said?
southbound Gaylord, yeah.
On that same stretch of land, curiously enough, right after okay, right after the railroad tracks, there's a sign that says train does not sound a horn, and I thought it's probably a little too late after the train tracks to tell people the train's not gonna sound its horn. I don't know who put it there, but probably might be a good idea to have it prior to the tracks, because,
Yeah, I'm
Not
not
gonna do
sure.
much good
I
once
don't
they
know
cross
if
it.
that was our, or if that's
probably not us,
CNN.
but-
CNN usually takes care of all the
on
signage
both sides
on the
go.
yeah,
railroads, but.
but it's after the tracks, so,
On both sides, going and coming now. You were absolutely right, it was
Yeah.
that way for a long, long time.
when by the time you see it, you'd already been hit by the train not sounding its horn.
Okay, thanks, Tony.
You're welcome.
All right, Community Development, our Economic Development Director, Scott McMaster. Good evening, Scott.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I have no agenda items this evening. I would like to make mention for those who are interested, we do have a Plan Commission meeting next Wednesday, December 13th. The meeting will regard Amazon signage that they are proposing to put up in front of their building on Division Street. I'd also like to make mention of our Winter Festival that we just had on November 25th. It seemed to be a successful event. We had 179 kids that came through to see Santa Claus in a very quick time frame, so that was good. That's up about 40 from last year, so that was very good for us. I just want to send out all kinds of thank yous to everybody. Mayor and City Council, as always, thank you very much for your support in putting on this event. All 22 sponsors that supported the event, I thank you. And then all the helping hands that were involved, starting with, we'll go alphabetical order here. Kathy Bouchong, Eric Bouchong, Regina Cabay, Matt Deletsky, Megan Fulera, Heather McGuire, Ashley Motika, Zoe Rogers, Dwayne Wilkerson. Huge thank you to Maribel DeHaro for taking charge of decorating City Hall. And then Brian Simplinsky, I think that goes without saying. This guy does pretty much everything around. He's supposed to be the mechanic for the city, and I think there isn't anything that he can't do around here. So without him, there was no event, and I think the biggest thanks goes to him. So again, thank you very much for all your support, and hopefully we'll have a bigger and better one next year. And with that, I'll answer any questions.
And I just want to say thanks to you, Scott, because I think that it was bigger and better than last year. It was great to see all the smiles on the young children's faces, and that's what it was all about. That's what it was always intended for, was for the young kids to have some fun for the evening in preparation of Christmas and Santa Claus. So thanks to you for all your hard work, and to the sponsors and to everybody that helped. The grounds look, inside and outside, look fantastic. Gotten a lot of compliments about everything, and so just thanks to you and thanks to everybody that helped in the process of putting this all together. Any other questions or comments from City Council?
I just want to echo, it was a very good event. couple parents from school, they said they had a lot of fun. They glad they know about it. Last year, because I didn't hear about it, so they advertised at school was a good thing. Because my daughter brought the flyer home too, so that was a good thing, good PR to the city. And Brian, yeah, if you're hearing it, or if he's not, let him know that switch that he made, that little switch, oh, it's on my daughter's. It's beautiful, beautiful. He's so talented. It's amazing. But thank you again for doing that. It was a great event.
My pleasure.
Beautiful weather too.
Yes.
It was
Worked out
awesome.
2 years in a row so far. so.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Scott. Moving on to the mayor's report. Or no, police department. Police department. This evening, we have Brad Hertzman, Deputy Chief of Police. Good evening, Brad.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council. I have no agenda items. Police report is on file. Be happy to take any questions that you might have.
Any questions of Deputy Chief? Thanks, Brad. That was easy. All right.
I'll take it.
Mayor's report. First on the agenda is a donation for Old Timers Baseball Association. This will be for their 69th annual banquet, which will be held on January 18th. It is a fundraiser for them to give money back, which the Crest Hill Boys Baseball Program is part of that recipients of the monies collected. So motion would be in order for a sponsorship ad in their program.
So moved.
Second.
Is that for $100?
Yes.
We have motion by Alderwoman Gazal, seconded by Alderwoman Sclair for a $100 ad donation for the Old Timers Baseball Association banquet. Questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Marco Cole DePietro.
Yes.
Nate Albert.
Yes.
Tom Inman.
Yes.
Tina Oberlin.
Yes.
John Verche.
Yes.
Scott Dyke.
Yes.
Barbara Scoler.
Yes.
Claudia Gazal.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, next on the agenda is proclamation honoring the State of Illinois bicentennial anniversary on its 200th birthday. Yesterday, December 3rd, was the 199th birthday of the State of Illinois. This afternoon, at noon, all municipalities were asked to raise a bicentennial flag under the State of Illinois flag on their flagpoles. We had several people from City Hall out there for the raising of the bicentennial flag, which will fly for the next year throughout every community in the state of Illinois. And for the 200th birthday, which will be December 3rd of 2018. So with that, the state of Illinois has also asked us to pass a proclamation for the year-long celebration of activities throughout the state. So we will begin with the reading of the proclamation with Alderman Dyke.
Proclamation, whereas Sunday, December 3rd, 2017 marks Illinois' 199th birthday, as Illinois became the 21st state in the Union on December 3rd, 1818, and
Whereas Illinois Bicentennial will be a year-long celebration between December 3rd, 2017 and December 3rd, 2018, which will be our state's 200th birthday, and
Whereas Illinois Bicentennial will remind us all that every day in Illinois, amazing things are born, built, and grown, and
Whereas Illinois Bicentennial will honor the many ways that Illinois has influenced American history, achievement, culture, innovation, and more, and
Whereas Illinois Bicentennial is a once-in-a-lifetime invitation to fall in love with Illinois all over again. And whereas together we can inspire pride in Illinois and show the world what makes this state so great. And
Whereas our community should encourage citizens, organizations, businesses, congregations, and cultural and education institutions to participate in the year-long celebration by submitting applications for endorsement of their events and projects by Illinois Bicentennial on the Participate page at illinois200.com. And
Now therefore, I, Raymond R. Solomon, by virtue of the powers vested in me as the mayor of the city of Crest Hill, along with the members of the city council, do hereby encourage all citizens to participate and celebrate in the upcoming year by visiting illinois200.com and using the hashtag IllinoisProud.
In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the corporate seal of the city of Crest Hill this 4th day of December 2017, Raymond R. Solomon, Mayor.
so moved as presented.
second.
Motion by Alderwoman Oberlin, seconded by Alderman Coladipietro. Questions or comments in regards to the motion for the proclamation? Roll call, please.
Scott Dyke.
Yes.
John Verche.
Yes.
Barbara Scoler.
Yes.
Claudia Gazal.
Yes.
Nate Albert.
Yes.
Tom Inman.
Yes.
Marco Colo-DiPietro.
Yes.
Tina Oberlin.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, that's all the agenda items for the mayor's report. I'll be glad to answer any questions anybody has. Hearing none, we'll move on to the city clerk's report. Our city clerk, Vicki Hackney. Good evening, Vicki.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I have two items on the agenda this evening. Per the memo that Council received in the November 20th, 2017 packet, it's a requirement under 5 ILCS 120-2.06. The City Council reviews the executive session minutes and executes a motion they become public if confidentiality no longer exists. The first motion would be approval of executive session minutes, which I would request. The minutes are for closed sessions from January 14th through December 14th, January 2015 through December 2015, and from January 2016 through December 2016. These were reviewed by our city administrator, Heather McGuire, prior to her leaving. So the first motion would be approval of the executive session minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Alderman Inman, seconded by Alderman Dyke. Questions or comments in regards to the motion? Roll call.
John Verche.
Yes.
Barbara Scoler.
Yes.
Claudia Gazal.
Yes.
Tina Oberlin.
Yes.
Marco Colo-DiPietro.
Yes.
Nate Albert.
Yes.
Tom Inman.
Yes.
Scott Dyke.
Yes.
Motion carries. The second item is approval of release of the executive session minutes for the dates as named previously, and a motion would be in order for that also.
So moved, as presented.
Second.
Motion by Alderwoman Oberlin, seconded by Alderman Coladipietro. Questions or comments in regards to the motion? Roll call.
Tom Inman.
Yes.
Nate Albert.
Yes.
Scott Dyke.
Yes.
John Verche.
Yes.
Barbara Scoler.
Yes.
Claudia Gazal.
Yes.
Tina Oberlin.
Yes.
Marco Colo-DiPietro.
Yes.
Motion carries. That's all the items I have this evening. Any questions of the clerk's office, I'd be more than happy to answer.
Questions of the city clerk?
Yes, I received in my packet for tonight, from Warner Rogers, the auditors, for a party they had. It came in the mail today, or in our packet for today, and this was dated the 18th of November. Now, people that were going to go to this party was Friday. So this came in envelopes.
Well, that would have
To the
been the
House.
prior work session packet. The clerk's office does the council packets. We don't do work session packets. So that would have been, because it was in my last work session packet.
It was in
Yeah, but
my
there's
city
there's
council
two
packet.
packets before this. Now, that party, anybody, I don't know what everybody else got theirs, but I got mine Friday night, 7 o'clock at night, the thing was
I got
over
mine
with already.
Saturday.
Yeah,
I
I got
wasn't
mine-
going, it was for the people that wanted to go, that
Yeah.
was terrible. This was,
Yeah.
according to this, it was mailed on the 18th of November. That's
There's
12
any
days
reason why
before
we
it come to
didn't get 'em?
packets.
I have no idea if it was in the box and it didn't get pulled out with your work session packet or your council packet. I got mine at my work session packet the week before.
Oh, I got mine for the meeting.
Yeah, so I have no
Friday.
idea.
Yeah, we got ours on Saturday.
I have no idea.
My packet was on Saturday.
They gotta get them a little faster from now on. So
Well,
people have
if
a
it's
chance
in the
to
work
vote.
session packet, like I said, we don't do a work session packet, so it could be, it came in after that and it didn't get in the packet. So, I mean, all we can do is call you until you have mail, that we'd be more than happy to do that.
Any other questions? Okay, thanks, Vic.
Thank you, Mayor.
Moving on to the treasurer's report. Our treasurer, Glenn Conklin. Good evening, Glenn.
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, Council. I would like to report regular and overtime payroll from November 13th, 2017 through November 26th, 2017, in the amount of $218,827.58. It's not an action item, but I do ask for your approval on our list of bills, which totals $639,884.30.
So moved, as presented.
Second.
Motion by Alderwoman Oberlin, seconded by Alderman Coladipietro. Questions or comments in regards to the motion for the list of bills? Roll call, please.
Scott Dyke.
Yes.
John Verche.
Yes.
Barbara Scoler.
Yes.
Claudia Gazal.
Yes.
Tom Inman.
Yes.
Nate Albert.
Yes.
Marco Colo-DiPietro.
Yes.
Tina Oberlin.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you very much. Before I ask if anyone has any questions, I want to say thank you, Scott, for a very, very wonderful holiday event. That was a really wonderful time. And thanks to all the volunteers that help with that. Now I'll take questions.
Questions of the city treasurer?
Thanks for all the pencils that you gave my daughter.
Very welcome. Good evening.
Thanks, Glenn. Unfinished business, anybody? New business, anybody? Committee liaison reports, anyone?
Nate, do you have the flyer? Well, this is our last opportunity to tell everyone about the Holiday Lights contest. You have until this Friday, is it not, Nate?
This Friday, yeah.
Boy, I've lost all track of time. The 8th?
That's this Friday, yes.
Okay. To submit your entries, I've gotten several in the last couple of days. The judges will be coming out the following week, and we will announce the winners at the December 18th city council meeting here. I generally try to get a hold of everybody that weekend before so they know, so they can come and get their award. Nate, do you have anything to add?
No, it's just, I've been driving around and seeing a lot of nicely decorated homes because of the milder weather, so, please participate in this lighting contest. It's good to see everybody brighten things up around the neighborhoods.
Did you see my house by chance?
Oh, no, not yet.
Not yet?
Did you
I
enter?
would like your approval. You did a good job this year.
So send those in, please. You can get it off the website, you can get it here in the city hall, or I can email it to you too at, you can call me, 815-953-4257, or email me and I'll email one to you.
Can you nominate me, Nate?
You go right ahead, Marco.
No, you're not.
Anybody else, committee liaison reports? City council comments, positive city council comments, anything you'd like to share with your constituents? We'll begin with Ward 4 this evening. Alderman Inman.
Thank you, Mayor. I have no comment tonight. Thank you very much.
Alderman Albert.
I too want to thank you, Scott, for a wonderful event. My family had a great time. I like how we had the room set up here for Santa. It flowed a lot smoother this year, but it turned out real nice. And Mayor, I also wanted to thank you for the party that you hosted. You and your wife hosted yesterday at the bowling alley. We certainly appreciated that and a visit from Santa. So thank you.
Alderman Cola DiPietro.
I just want to congratulate Heather and Jesse on the birth of their baby boy. And on a personal note, I'd like to congratulate my nephew, Troy Fumagalli, who received the Big Ten Tight End of the Year award for Wisconsin Badgers football.
It was a tough loss.
Yes, it was.
Alderwoman Overland.
I'd also like to congratulate Heather and Jesse on little Malcolm in the middle. Best wishes to all of them.
Alderwoman Gazal.
Well, Mayor, I want to thank you and your wife, Vicki. This is the 9th year that you've been hosting this event to all the employees and elected officials and their family. I think it's a great gesture from you to do that every year. We had a lot of fun. Too bad this is the first year we missed Santa, but he met us somehow on the way out and he gave us a present, so it was a good thing. My daughter left happy. Thank you again.
Alderwoman Scler.
I also would like to say thank you to the mayor and to Vicki also. It was very kind of you, and I really enjoyed myself. Thank you very much.
Alderman Verche.
Nothing to report.
Alderman Dyke.
Nothing at this time, Mayor.
Public comment. Anybody would like to address city council need to come to the podium. Need to state your name for the record. Your address is optional. Seeing none, to our city attorney, is there a need for an executive session?
As far as I know, no.
No? Okay.
Motion to adjourn, Mayor.
Second.
We have a motion for an adjournment by Alderman Dyke, seconded by Alderman Verche. Questions or comments of the motion? Roll call, please.
Tom Inman?
Yes.
Nate Albert?
Yes.
Marco Cole DePietro?
Yes.
Tina Oberlin?
Yes.
Claudia Gazal?
Yes.
Barbara Scolaire?
Yes.
John Verche?
Yes.
Scott Dyke?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Our meeting is adjourned at 8 p.m. Thank you and good evening.